What's up, fight fans? This is Kirk DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua, the LDBC, CC the Great, Black Fight Fan TV, and 78 Sports TV. And they went on a rant earlier this morning. I think it was early this morning. I'm not sure because when I received the video, it was this morning. And I listened to it, and I think Black Fight Fan TV probably had the most balanced thing about AJ. Because, I mean, he actually wants AJ to improve and see what he can do. And I think CC and 78 were more like, fuck AJ. You know, CC the Great, I don't know anything about her. I just know she's, radical. And 78's like, fuck AJ, because, but 78's supposed to say that, you know what I mean? Like, so listening to what they said, and things were said like this, like, oh, well, CC was like, well, he's with all this fake persona now. He wants to go from, I think he's, what'd she say, like Steve Urkel to Bumpy Johnson. Like, no, we ain't going for that. Let me counterpunch. I don't know where they got that from. I think it is because he was able to mingle with other people, higher up. That's why he got all those endorsements. And I think with a lot of success comes with a lot of hate. And this is just another example of it. They seen Anthony Joshua with all those endorsements, Hugo Boss, Hummer, Under Armour, all that shit. And, they seen him rubbing elbows with, like, the Queen and, other high officials and stuff like that. And he was able to blend in, and he was able to fit in. And I think what happens with certain groups, you don't supposed to fit in if you're a part or you're down with that particular group. See, CC don't supposed to do what AJ's supposed to do. So CC wouldn't respect what AJ does because CC is not that type of person. You know what I mean? So 78 either. They're not, you won't see them at a fucking dinner party with a tuxedo on. Let's just be real. They're not that type of people. That's not their type of crowd, So that's just the difference between it, point blank. And them saying, oh, well, now he's all like Tupac and Bumpy Johnson. It's like, the motherfucker has always been like that. He's always been like that. You just didn't know who the fuck he was. All you saw was a black guy with a white fucking promoter of Eddie Hearn making a shitload of money, more than the champion that you guys have and honored and worshipped and followed over here, which was Deontay Wilder, which was a fighter 5 or 6 years before AJ ever came along. Okay, so I think a lot of that comes from the contrast of what Deontay Wilder didn't do versus what Anthony Joshua was able to do or did. Okay, because we don't know what the fuck he's going to do now. We just know he's looking for an American trainer, and that's another thing. Him in America now, that angers them, and I'm like, why? It didn't anger him when he was getting the shit beat out of him by Andy Ruiz. You praise that. So it just shows you that, okay, you're not an AJ fan. So we know those guys are not AJ fans, and they try to justify it by saying certain shit that don't make sense. What they're saying is, oh, well, AJ's now doing this and trying to, he looks up to Bumpy Johnson and gangsters. The motherfucker has always been like that. Want me to prove it? Fine. He was, before he even started boxing, he was busted with weed. I don't know how much weed, a lot of weed. He thought he was going to jail. That's why I was like, let me take care of myself to keep these dudes off my ass while I'm in jail. I'm a pretty boy. I'm going to get probably, manhandled, right? I don't want to use sensitive words on YouTube, right? So he's always been like that. He's always been a rapper. He's always been, he's always told you who the hell he was. That guy, he changed his name finally from Ghost to fucking Femi, but he was Ghost for a long time. If anybody know anything about Ghost or Power, that show was about a guy that was able to rub elbows with the elite, but underneath, he was a grimy ass criminal. He had a totally different persona than one that he tried to keep secret or private from the rest of the people he rubbed elbows with. Okay, so them calling AJ fake or whatever, if he's being fake, he's rubbing elbows and smiling and all that shit. You know, what you don't know about AJ is the thing that you should know about him. He's not Wilder. Wilder is a person that he's just one way. Okay? And unfortunately for Wilder, though, Wilder didn't get the accolades. Wilder didn't get the opportunities. But again, that's not AJ's fault that he got something that you wanted your champion, the person you followed, to get. See, Deontay couldn't get the Charles Martin fight because his fucking handlers didn't have the money, nor the resources, and they didn't have the appeal to get a fight with that. He could have been a unified champion over here. Then he would have been looked at far beyond just one champion from the WBC. Okay, so there we go. So when you hear them talk about AJ, you're hearing envy. You're hearing words of envy because Deontay Wilder is just now in his 13th or 14th fucking career, is now starting to get the accolades, you know, like the statue and stuff like that. But I mean, he couldn't get it until he got beat up. But I mean, he was going to get beat up eventually when he stepped up in competition. Okay, because the only person that he fought which was on an elite level was Tyson Fury, really. The only person he beat, which I think was on a pretty decent level, was Luis Ortiz, because I'm an Ortiz fan. You know, and he did that. But now he has to share it with Andy Ruiz because Andy Ruiz was able to do it. Needless to say, he did it with, you know, Ortiz was in better shape, you know, to be fair. But that's the only person on his resume worth mentioning. You know, you can talk about Helenius, but Helenius is a tune-up fight. So, you know, so with a lot of groups, they're just not going to like AJ, you know, and a lot of people just have personality clashes. And I think the personality clashes along with the cultural clashes will always do that. You know, they're talking about AJ like he's from here. He is not African American, but they're talking the way, you know, somebody would talk about Carlston Banks from fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that all of a sudden wanted to turn into Tupac, you know? So, you know, I think it's strange over there, but that's my counterpunch on them and their rant of AJ. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching. Peace.